Hey everybody, this is Ken, and this is a little off the beaten path for what I usually have on my YouTube channel, but I felt obligated to include it. In case you haven't heard, Chris Cornell died yesterday in Detroit of an apparent suicide, which is very sad, but it reminded me that 11 years ago on another morning show, we interviewed him, and I wanted to share that with you now. It starts off with kind of a mistake. There were some crossed lines. His record rep got on the phone with us, and there was some hold music from another band on there, and so we started the interview with a little bit of fun with that. And the rest does include a little bit of bleeped profanity. Not any profanity that would be bad for kids, just to let you know. And yeah, we also talked about his new Audioslave record and the fact that he recorded the theme to James Bond's Casino Royale. So remember Chris Cornell, and here's the interview.
Hello.
Is this Chris Cornell?
Yeah. Is this somebody's hold music that we're listening to?
I don't know what that is in the background. Huh. It's not us.
Oh my God, I can't believe it.
Is that at the very least, is that your music?
No, well, let's say, do you recognize it?
I can barely hear it.
It's loud in my phone.
Huh. I'm sorry, we can't hear it that well.
It's something you guys at the firm are doing on purpose, isn't it?
No, it is not. Seriously.
Is this cutting into our interview time?
This is how they're trying to get their bands played on the radio.
This is how the labels are doing. We're going to get you a Chris Cornell interview, and in the background they're playing Joey Buttnut and Hot Vomit, their new single.
The whole time.
This Chris Cornell interview is brought to you by Interscope's new band, Vomit.
He thinks they're really great, but he doesn't know who they are.
Well, this is completely screwed up.
Yeah.
Hey, our meter doesn't start running until the music and Buttnut leave.
Yeah, right, exactly. Can we get the music out first before we are being timed?
Our precious time with the super rock star guy.
I know, you're screwing us on Chris Cornell time. This is quality time we're trying to spend with Chris.
Your time will begin when the music stops.
I know.
Okay.
It's like, if we're not all in
chairs,
if we're not all in a chair, we're out.
Yeah.
Oh my. So Chris, how are you?
I'm great.
Good. The kids good? The family good? Everything's good?
Everything's great. Kids are great.
Glad to hear.
Great. Do the kids like whatever band this is?
Joey Buttnut and Hot Vomit?
No. I don't expose my children to this kind of thing. I'm hoping to keep them away from it forever.
Well, good.
This is the reason why I don't want my kids to ever be in a band, for fear that it might sound like this. What are you going to say to your kid when he comes in and he's like, Dad, I want to play in my band? And you're like, great. And then you hear that. What do you say?
Oh, man.
You say, good effort. I love you anyway, son.
Right, son. Yeah. No matter what, I'll love you. Even if you do bad replacements impressions.
You can't be gay, but you can be in a shitty band.
Everything else is on the table.
Yeah.
In fact, being gay is okay. Just don't be in the shitty band.
Hey, Mr. Joey Buttnut, I'm so sorry. We were trying to listen to your song, but this guy, Chris Cornell, kept yakking.
God, interrupting. It was so rude.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that doesn't recognize pure genius.
Well, Chris, it is a pleasure to speak with you.
Thank you.
Love the new song from the Bond movie. Have you seen the movie?
I saw a pretty rough edit of a lot of it, and then was sort of guided through the parts by the guy who was showing me the rough edit. Like if there were sections that weren't edited or even shot yet, he would say, okay, and then here this is going to happen, and that's going to happen, blah, 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 and then we move on to here, and then he'd show me something that was filmed. And that, I was curious about it, but I wasn't really ready to run and go do it until I saw, probably it was like the opening sequence right up to where the song drops. When it got to where the song drops, I'm like, oh, okay, this is completely different than any other Bond film. and I want to be the guy writing the song for this because it changes the way it will change the way everyone thinks about the character and about the future of the films and the actor too. I think a lot of people have sort of made up their minds already, whether or not they like the idea of Daniel Craig being the new James Bond. But you really have to see the film because it's not like what he looks like or if he looks like you imagine the character. Once you're starting to watch the film, you realize it's about the acting and the script and how he has a depth as an actor. He's a real actor.
Yeah.
And that wins. I mean, the whole thing, the script. There are no implausible sequences. There's no fighting in space. There are no silhouettes of hot girls over the opening credits. It's a different, it's a very different, edgy approach to the character. And so that's when I was like, oh yeah, I really, really, really want to do this.
Well, that's cool.
I mean, they're very cool about the whole, what they wanted. I feel like they sort of did what I think you're supposed to do, is that you go find the person you think is the right guy for the job and then let him do the job, and then it'll work out. That's kind of what they had in mind, and like they did the work in the beginning instead of, well, let's get this guy because the movie studio wants a famous person, but then we'll try to get him to do what we want in terms of music, which I think they ran into that problem last time, like using Madonna. I don't think it was anybody's brilliant idea other than the movie company thinking that it would sell tickets.
Well, you can go either way on the Bond movies. Sometimes they're great garbage. Did a really good song a few years ago, and then sometimes you get Duran Duran and it's not so great.
Yeah, I like the Sheryl Crow one.
Yeah,
her singing on it was phenomenal. I think she's an amazing singer. And I didn't really get the words, but the vocals were fantastic. I mean, it's one of her best moments as a singer.
Well, if Singles hadn't cemented you as a part of movie history, this certainly will not.
Exactly. Although there are no ridiculous cameos.
Well, would you have wanted to do a cameo? Would you want to be there playing cards at the baccarat table with Bond?
No, unless it's like a Hitchcock cameo where it's just for the sake of pointing to my friends, like, look, there I am.
So aside from your film work, the new Audioslave record, people are very excited about this.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts compared to the previous?
Well, it's more up tempo. There's more energy in it overall, by a long shot, really. Especially the second record. I think we had sort of a way too of polarizing, where we would do songs like a Stone, and then turn around and do a really aggressive rock song. And kind of we're living in one world or another world, and there's some songs that kind of married the both, but on this record, I think that it's really more sort of each song kind of includes a lot of what we do. There are songs that are aggressive in moments, but also have melodic parts. Like the song Revelations is a great example. I think it's an aggressive rock song, but it's also a very melodic song. And it has some beautiful melodic moments in it, and in that way, maybe that has something to do with just kind of being comfortable, the four of us writing as Audioslave, and not really thinking much about it, and just kind of moving on. We kind of did that from the start, but there was definitely more thought starting with the first record than there is now, and there was more like pause. Like the day that we wrote Like a Stone, there was definitely a pause. Like from Tim C, like, is this cool? Can we write a song like this? Because the fact is they came from Rage.
Right, so,
sure. Is someone gonna? I like the song, but are they gonna be mad at me? What's the question? And the answer was like maybe, but how much do you like the song? And that once we got through that, we never looked back.
Well, I could ask you the usual questions like, if you're going to be on a desert island, what would you bring with you? What CDs would you bring? That stupid interview.
Yeah.
I'm just going to ask you very straight out, what is your favorite song of all time ever?
Boy.
By anyone.
And I can't answer it.
You
can't answer it.
I can't do it.
But you're on an island and you need to pick one song, Chris.
It'd be like asking God, can you make a rock?
Well, if I'm on an island, I got to pick one song, and this is an honest answer. It's not a joke, although you're going to laugh.
Yeah. Okay.
I would pick John Lennon's 1 Minute of Silence, and I would listen to it over and over and over and over and over.
That's great.
Very deftly done, Chris Cornell.
I don't care what song it is and how much you love it. You're not going to be wanting to hear that over and over and over on a desert island.
It all becomes me and you and a dog named Boo on the 1,000th listen.
Right.
Eventually, yes, and you're going to be trying to do the Tom Hanks, build a boat out of some old porta-john and get out of there. You don't want to listen to that song again. And then when you get off the island, if you're lucky enough, you'll never want to hear that song again. By
the way, that is Wilson's favorite song as well.
Chris Cornell, you talked about living in two different worlds. You live in L.A. and Paris. You're back and forth. Is that right?
Yeah, it's always a culture shock coming back to L.A. from Paris. Coming into L.A. really from anywhere is a little bit, I think, because it's not like anywhere. And you'll see, like one time I flew in, and we were going from the airport to we had a condo at the time. And I'm in the car, and I kind of look down, and I see a guy and a girl. What seems to be a younger guy and a girl in an older Cadillac, and the girl's wearing like these lipstick pink spandex pants and like a skimpy purple top, and then I notice, oh, that's a wig, isn't it? A big sort of slutty wig. And then I notice she's like 78. I mean, no joke. And a long cigarette. And then the husband is like, he's probably 90 and barely alive, and he has tattoos, and like you don't see that anywhere else.
It's true.
You have a panic attack for a second when you see something like that, and then you get over it, and eventually you get used to it because there are a lot of good things about it here.
Only in L.A.
Yeah.
Chris Cornell, before we let you go, we play a game with all of our celebrity guests. It's called Cheese Quiz. How it works is 15 seconds. Go on the clock, and in that time, we'll ask you to name as many types of cheese as you can. Like, for example, cheddar.
Can I steal that one for the first one?
Of course you can.
Yes.
That's free space. 15 seconds on the clock. Chris Cornell, Cheese Quiz, go.
Okay. Cheddar, Jack, Gruyere, Munster, Swiss. Why is that funny?
I don't know. It was the funny reaction to it. Well, it was Swiss.
Goat cheese, Chevrolet.
Okay.
We give those some at the wire.
Sure.
That's 7 kinds of cheese. Very nicely done.
What's the record?
The record was Richard Cheese, and he had it in the 20s.
Oh, wow. He was probably reading off the internet.
Probably.
I hope you and your cheeses and your one song will be happy on the island.
Yes.
Cheese would not be a bad thing to have on an island, because it would also mean that you have a cow, and in a pinch you can kill that thing.
Right. And if you get Swiss cheese, you won't need a woman.
That's true.
Classy.
That's true.
That was classy.
That was great. Yeah, no wonder you're in broadcasting.
Chris Cornell, thank you, sir. Take care.
You're welcome. Thank you.